Greetings, adult collectors. I am Crash the Customizer. Welcome to another Custom Transformers Showcase. This is my Custom Transformers Prime Megatron. And this is basically just the Transformers Prime Voyager Megatron with just some better paint and, of course, added a few things to it. So I basically painted over all of the gray with some silver to make it look a lot more show accurate. And then made this custom fusion cannon piece, which is made from the blaster that came with the Gamer Edition Optimus Prime figure. And then I just took some tape and wrapped around it to kind of thicken this section here up. And then I cut this out for some paper and just painted it silver and added kind of some layers to make it nice and thick. And then this is one of those little Lego cone-like pieces. And then I have a Lego stud with a hole and a little bar in it, and then I have this piece here, which is just a little Lego peg piece that allows you to stick that little bar right in there, just like that. And now he has this fusion cannon, and of course I did give him his posable hands, just kind of using that little piece here that tend to be used for a lot of like Lego animals to kind of give him actually like claws. So I was able to give him 3 fingers here, and then to give him his 4th finger, I used the same piece I used for his thumb here. So I just basically cut off half of it to make his thumb, and then cut off half of it to make his finger here, and it kind of sticks up just a little bit taller than some other fingers, but I mean in some poses you don't really notice that. And of course you can actually of course give him a little closed fist here, and that looks pretty awesome looking, to be able to actually pose Megatron's fingers. And nice big claws are a lot better than the tiny little hand that they had that went right here. I don't know why they gave him such little tiny fingers when he actually had these big claw fingers like this. So that made it a lot more show accurate. And then one of the major things I did make him show accurate is his backpack here. So you have these pieces here that would go on just like this, or you can have them folded up like this. And you have them folded like this, then they will stick off like that, and that's not show accurate. So what I like to do is I like to actually take them off, and then I added this little Lego peg with this axle and then this little gear piece. And then since they tab together with transformation, I just basically just kind of tab them together just like this. And they do just kind of just sit back here. They can easily come off, but it at least kind of gets them out of the way, so it actually doesn't affect the actual look in the front, so you don't see this thing just sticking up on the back, which makes no sense because they didn't have that in the show. And then one other thing I of course did was I gave him this little Decepticon symbol right here, and then I painted in his eyes. So with his eyes, I took some Play-Doh to kind of make his eyes kind of come up just a little bit more, and then painted it red, painted a little white dot, and then painted a smaller dot with a toothpick, so he could actually have a lot more show accurate eyes, just like I did with my Starscream. And when you look at the actual figure and how his head looks, it looks very odd, but once you paint it like this, it actually looks a lot more like he did on the show. So honestly, just a little bit of painting and just adding all the things, you can make this figure actually look show accurate compared to how it actually tends to come just as is. And then one other thing I of course added is his sword. Now this is made from a lot of different little Lego pieces here. So we have these little Lego pegs, and then this little flat piece I had to add this little peg in, and then the sword itself came from the Transformers Legacy Cybertron Starscream that I used, of course, to make the custom Transformers animated Megatron, because I didn't need these little sword pieces for that. So I'd cut off the sections of the sword and just glue them together, because it actually, once you do that, it really does look like the sword that Megatron has in Transformers Prime. And to peg it in, you just peg it in that little port right there, and then it'll bring his cannon down, and now he has his sword. And that looks pretty awesome looking. I mean, it really looks like the sword he had in the show. So now I'll go ahead and bring some comparisons with Megatron here. So here he is with his animated counterpart. And here we have Megatron with Starscream and Soundwave. And last and most important comparison, here's Megatron with his arch rival, Optimus Prime. So now we're going to get into transformation. So transform Megatron into a Cybertronian jet mode. First we need to do is we need to unpeg his fusion cannon. Then we'll go ahead and unattach these. Set these off to the side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to untap his arms here. So they tab in right in this section right here. So once we do that, that will allow us to be able to bring down his chest here. And then now we can bring down or bring up his head here just like this. We're going to take his arms and just kind of fold up like this. And then we need to rotate the arms around just like that. And then they will peg in right here, and then the arms themselves will tab together. So everything lined up, so everything pegged and tabbed in. Just get everything in place. Get the arms pegged in here, get them tabbed together. And then we'll just take his fingers, fold them down, fold in his thumb, kind of just basically just getting them in the closed fist. There we have that. And then we want to just kind of bring his little shoulder pads down here. And then we're just going to take these, just kind of peg them back in where they originally were. Just like this. So then what we're going to do, once we get those pegged back in, just kind of get everything out of the way, and then take this section and flip it up. Flip it back like that, and then it will allow us to be able to take these and just tab them together so it'll cover up part of his head. So you only want to be able to see just the top of his head, first vehicle mode here. Then we're going to take his little shoulder pads, kind of get them like this. Then we're going to work on his legs. We need to untab his waist here. Just kind of fold it back like this. Rotate his legs around. And then this section here will untab. And then accordion fold out like this. Then just take this little spike, flip it around. Same on this side, just untab this section here. Put it back. Then flip this section around. Then we need to rotate the legs around so that they face like this. And then I did actually break off the tabs that this tapped into simply because it was just so hard to line those up. So I'll make this just a little bit easier for myself because I was just like, I can never get it to want to tab in right. So that also makes it a little bit easier because then all you got to do is just try to tab in this little section right here, which still is a pain, but at least there's only one thing to tab in, so you tab one and the other one untabs itself. So you just got to try to get in there, which is really kind of hard to even see what you're doing here. Okay, get that tabbed in, just like that. And then I'm going to rotate the other leg around, this section in, try to tab that in. That's something I don't like about this is you got to try to kind of hard to see what you're doing to get that tab in there, which is kind of why I cut that other tab off because it made it so difficult. Once you get that lined up like it's supposed to be, just kind of get it. There we go. So I guess it makes it a little easier. Just kind of bring the legs like that and just kind of tab them and then bring the legs down. Makes it a little bit easier. There's always an easier way to do it. You just gotta try to find it sometimes. Anyway, so we just go ahead and bring his feet. Just kind of claps them up like this. And then I'm going to take these sections here and bring them down like this, so it creates this little front section here. And then for the finishing touch, we take his fusion cannon and it pegs in the exact same way as it pegs into his arm. Just peg that in right there. And there we have Megatron in his Cybertronian jet mode. And honestly, this is probably one of the weirdest jets I've ever seen, obviously since it is supposed to be Cybertronian, because Megatron never actually scanned alt mode from Earth, and say it's very strange looking because you have literally his head is actually peeking out of the top of it, which is actually so accurate because there's actually a part where you could see his head just peeking out, and then he has these weird little, I guess they're claws, because in one episode he did actually grab Starscream with these. So yeah, it's very, very odd, but honestly probably one of my favorite vehicle modes for Megatron, because I just think this is like really cool looking, just kind of this weird looking Cybertronian jet of some sort. So I'll go ahead and bring some comparisons. So here he is, a Starscream. Here he is, a Soundwave. Here he is with his animated counterpart. And here he is with Optimus Prime. Now to get Megatron back into his robot mode, first thing we need to do is unpeg his fusion cannon. And we need to untab the wing sections here. Just kind of bring down his feet here, untab the wings. Feet here. Just go ahead and untab the wing. It can be a little hard to do because this section actually tabbed in pretty well once you break off this section here. So then what we just need to do is we need to bring down the entire leg section here. Raise the camera just a bit. So then we just need to bring down this section here. We'll go ahead and bring up these, put them up like this, so we can bring this down all the way. Then we're going to flip these back into here. And we just rotate the legs around and then just kind of fold them back up. So then we'll tab it right in there. Same this side, just kind of fold it back up, tab it in. Just get them lined up right. Then we need to do is we need to take these, just go ahead and split them, and just go ahead and take them off, put off the side. Then we can bring the head section down. Go ahead and unpeg his arms, bring them down, then fold them up, down, unpeg them up. Then we'll go ahead and take his chest, bring it together, and then his arms will peg into his chest right, or the back of his chest right here. So we'll lock his arms in place. Rotate the shoulder pads. We'll come back here, flip these back, flip this section up into here. Then we'll take these sections here and just kind of peg them together so they just kind of sit back there just like that. Go ahead and take Megatron's arms, rotate them around so that they're facing the right way. And I'll open up his hands, bring up his fingers, bring up his thumb. The same on this side, bring up the fingers, bring up the thumb. The last thing to do to complete the look is peg in his fusion cannon. And there we have my Custom Transformers Prime Megatron back into his robot mode. And I absolutely love how this figure looks. And once you get the silver paint, kind of give him more show accurate colors, get his eyes painted in, give him the actual show accurate fusion cannon, and fixing all this back here, he literally looks just like he did in the show. And honestly, this is probably my favorite of all of the Prime Customs I've done, just because I honestly really like Megatron in Transformers Prime and just the design, and be able to make this actually look like he did in the show. It's just something I really, really am happy I was able to do. And that's pretty much it for this video. So if you like this video, be sure to check out the description where you'll find a link to the playlists of all of my other Transformers Prime and animated figures. There'll also be a link that will take you to my stop motion channel where I'm currently just doing random stop motions, but I'm working on a stop motion series that I'm hoping to have on at some point. Be sure to check that out. And be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future customs. And until next time, this is Crash the Customizer, out. Now that you have returned, Megatron, I will humbly return to my post as your humble second-in-command. Excellent, Starscream. Now go and gather up my troops. I want them to know of my return. Of course, Lord Megatron. Remind me of his trustfulness.
Where's your master? Never mind him. I am my own master.
As I suspected. Watch him closely, Soundwave, and inform me of any plots to overthrow me.